country recorded 83,988 sexual assaults against women.
What? Yo, what it do, YouTube, man? I'm not one to waste time, so we're gonna get straight into it. Today we about to be reacting to Trap University again. The deadly streets of Brazil. I'm not gonna say I didn't know Brazil didn't have streets. I didn't know it was dangerous over there. Truth be told, I thought that was like a vacation area, Brazil, Jamaica, all that good shit. I know it's dangerous in Jamaica. I ain't really hear too much shit. I didn't really hear too much shit about Brazil, so let's get into it. Let's see what they're talking about.
A shootout between two groups rarely sees the death of more than one or two people, and this is usually due to the participants on both sides being amateurs involved in a petty conflict. But when you have the Rio police storm a favela with 200 officers, 4 armored vehicles, and 2 helicopters.
Damn, these niggas got 5 stars on this motherfucker. Nigga talking about, did he say 20 officers? 4 armed cars and a helicopter?
On both sides.
They gotta be dumping drugs at that bitch. Ain't no way.
Amateurs involved in a petty conflict. But when you have the Rio police storm a favela with 200 officers,
200, my bad,
vehicles, and 2 helicopters, resulting in 29 deaths, you have just an introduction to crime in Brazil. The incident I'm speaking of happened in the favela of Jacarezinho in Rio de Janeiro. This was the deadliest police operation in Rio's history, and just over a year later, the second deadliest operation would take place in Vila Cruzeiro.
Damn.
Now, a favela for
What the fuck they got going on in Brazil? They get like, I'm not gonna ask because I see it, but I didn't know they got down like that in Brazil. They got damn near the whole police task force. Not one time, but 2 times to kill a bunch of motherfuckers. That's crazy.
You who don't know, it's just an umbrella term for the slums in Brazil. The main difference between a favela and a dangerous neighborhood in the U.S. is, for one, you'll notice that most of the buildings in the favela look, well, improvised. And that's because they are...
Now, this look like the trenches. Motherfuckers said that they're from the trenches or whatnot. This look like the trenches, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Some motherfuckers, trenches be looking like suburbs, but this look like the trenches. They literally built this shit.
That improvised buildings and shacks made from whatever materials the locals could get their hands on. And to oversimplify, this began in the 1940s with the housing crisis in the country, partially caused in Rio by migration into the city due to the rapid industrialization fueled by a former very controversial president. And the housing market couldn't take the influx of people, so obviously it became more expensive to live there. And those who couldn't afford housing, they just got resourceful and built their own housing. And the separation of favelas from the city proper, as well as the maze-like structures inside of them, makes it a drug cartel.
Me personally, I couldn't live there, bro. It looked too dirty. It looked too close. It's like, I only think, I was gonna say you can't really drive a car. I see a car driving, but the streets is so narrow, it's like you would rather have a bike from the looks of it. I can't even drive a fucking bike, but I'm just saying.
Headquarters, and most of them are just that, with the murder rate in some favelas being as high as 40 people per every 100,000. They have also had somewhat of an impact on Brazilian culture, with favelas producing their own genre of music and dance, Brazilian funk. Now, the first bloody operation I covered was targeted against the group Comando Vermelho, also known as the Red Command. This group is accused of many things, including drugs and armed trafficking, kidnapping for ransom, loan sharking, hijacking armored vehicles.
Bro, why is these niggas not locked up? They sounding like the cartel of Brazil, bro. Are they untouchable? Do the government not care?
Narco-terrorism. It was formed in Candido Mendes, a maximum security prison off the coast of Rio, made up of guerrilla warfighters and common criminals. It started as a way to collectively protect themselves against violence in the prison from other inmates and guards, but now they are splintered into several groups on the outside. But as a whole, they have a massive presence in the country and have been known to engage in gang wars over trade.
Fuck a gang where these niggas is having a civil war. It's the gang versus the police. That's literally what I'm seeing right now. This ain't no fucking civil gang war. This ain't no gang war.
And territory in the Amazon, which is partially inside of a federal state known as Amazonas. The second deadly raid in 2022 was also against this group. So we have 2 of the deadliest police operations in Rio's history against the same group. And in this 1 year, as probably a lead up to the operation, 39 different massacres took place in the state of Rio de Janeiro. These resulted in 182 deaths alone. And we haven't even covered another criminal organization yet. So let's talk about one of the Red Command.
Bro, what? That's a lot of people to be dying to the police, the people that's supposed to serve and protect. I mean, I do get this is a different country, but that's like actually crazy. The fuck is they getting paid for?
His main ops, as we would say in the U.S. The PCC, or Primero Comando de Capital, is, according to a report from The Economist in 2023, the largest drug gang in all of Latin America. Now, to call that a bold claim would be a bit of an understatement, as Latin America is home to some of the wealthiest and definitely the most brutal cartels on the planet, but these guys are alleged to have the most members. They also note that as of 2023, due to a partnership they have with 'Ndrangheta, a wealthy and powerful mafia organization from Italy, they control 50% of all Brazilian drugs that make it to Europe, and
hold on, bro. Investigations by federal police indicate that this was not the only case in
organization from Italy. They control 50% of all Brazilian drugs that make it to Europe, and according to leaked documents by the SIS, or the Portuguese version of the CIA, the PCC also has about 1,000 members operating in the Portuguese capital city.
Time out, bro. It's too much shit getting through at me one time. It's too many letters. ABC, PPC, PPP, all that shit. It's just a big ass gang war. A big legal gang war. That's literally what the fuck this is.
And as far as danger, a kingpin known as the King of the Border, due to the fact that he ran the entire trafficking ring in an area called Ponta Porra, which sits on the border with Paraguay, turned himself into authorities because the PCC was after him, signaling that prison was seen as a more suitable option than his mansion once he figured out the PCC wanted him dead. Now, this was in 2021, and apparently his fear was reasonable, as just across the border that he controlled.
Damn, but you gotta think about it. The police ain't got niggas. I ain't gonna sound scared of the police or give me anxiety or not. But the police got these motherfuckers so scared that they turn themselves in so they don't die. In the right society, that'll work, but that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, on the right people, but everything is so corrupt in this society. It's like,
track killings occurred, including the murder of a prosecutor who was on honeymoon with his pregnant wife, allegedly all on the orders of the PCC. But as bad as organized crime can be, in my opinion, the second thing Brazil is known for is honestly where it gets disturbing: femicide, or the targeting of women in violent crime, such as murder. In 2023 alone, the country recorded 83,988 sexual assaults against women.
What? Bro, that means every woman in this fucking country got fucking raped damn near.
Or that 83.
That's probably over half of the population. I would ask Siri, but I'm using my phone. I could look this shit up real quick. Hold on. What city is this? Okay, that's a... I got a calculator on this bitch. I'm about to crunch some numbers for y'all, show y'all some math. If I ain't got a calculator, I ain't about to dabble into that, because that shit on my phone. Yep, I ain't about to dabble into it. All in all, that's a big percentage of people. Boy, that's a big percent.
1,988 sexual assaults against women.
Which 80,000 to 200 million. It don't seem, but that's a lot of women to get.
To 1 every 6 minutes, and this is a nearly
Bro, I'm done pausing. 1 every 6 minutes
from the previous year. And there are even rumored to be members in government that seek to penalize women who report crimes like this that cause certain men to lose their jobs. Although some members of government seek longer sentences for the perpetrators of these crimes. There were 77,000 cases of stalking against women in 2023, which was a 34% increase from the previous year.
Bro, my girl wanna go to motherfucking Brazil for vacation. Gotta come out that bitch with heavy artillery. Hell no.
And of course, a crime like stalking can in many cases be a prelude to murder. And this is nothing new, as all the way back in 2016, Brazil ranked 13th in the world for femicide, with 12 women a day being murdered. And this number is sadly rising. And of course, some of this is due to female involvement in gangs, whether their inclusion is voluntary or forced, but it's also important to remember that some of these statistics also account for minors. And as of 2024, Sao Paulo was ranked.
Bro, at this point, as a woman, why would you not just have a child, have a baby, go move somewhere else, and live a happy life? I know it ain't that easy. My young, dumb, naive brain knows it's not that easy, but that's a start. That's how I see it, bro.
dangerous state for women in Brazil. And these statistics are not just simply counting women who were targeted for crime, but women who were targeted specifically due to their gender. Now, of all the 6 statistics I've come across in my research for these videos, this has to be the most surprising. I had heard such a thing many years ago, but I never looked into it because just growing up in a family full of women, one of our duties as men is to practice self-control and never harm a woman or child.
No, I never like heard of this shit ever, but he's speaking facts on that part.
But to see that somewhere as beautiful as Brazil has a problem with people doing the exact opposite at an alarming rate is pretty disheartening. And of course, it's not all Brazilians, but the many unaddressed crises facing the country has over time led to something like a favela existing where criminal activity can go unchecked. No hood or mafia stronghold in the U.S. can quite compare to the lawlessness you can encounter in a favela. I'll never forget my first time seeing a slum, a real slum, like a shanty town. I was on a family cruise back when I was in middle school, and the ship docked in Barbados. I remember how beautiful it looked off the coast, only for the...
I don't know where y'all live at. I don't know how it is where y'all live, but the closest thing that we got to slums in Milwaukee, motherfucking Burla. No, I'm not even gonna say Burla, bro. I'm just gonna say any neighborhood. We got some neighborhoods that's like 75%, 80% abandoned houses. You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say one of those. Like you gotta cruise around. Don't cruise around though. You're gonna get fucked up.
To dock and introduce me for the first time to houses made of tin, with poor and hungry children surrounding the outside, watching us all privileged Americans step off the boat, many just looking for a place to shop, while completely ignoring the community we had just landed in. And over 15 years later, I can still see it vividly in my mind. A kind of place no child should have to grow up. But thanks to all you guys, I can now have a voice against things like this, and maybe one day even go into these communities and help out, or at the very least, let a child know that this is not the extent of the world, that knowledge and faith are for the power.
On some shit. This some nerd shit I'm about to put on y'all. Y'all ever watch Attack on Titan? Cause that's literally what it is. It's born into, if you haven't, a quick summary of Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan. Boom. Group of islanders. Boom. They trapped around big ass human, like big ass titans. They trapped. And they think there's no way because it's like they can't get off the island. I'm not about to spoil it. It's the reason why they can't get off the island. But it's, you know what I'm saying? They can't get off the island because them big ass monsters eating their ass. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what this reminded me of. Without the monsters and whatnot. But that's literally, it's giving that. You know?
But as always, guys, I thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment anything that I may have missed or misunderstood.
No, that's actually crazy, bro. 80,000 women. S8, like that's heartbreaking. As we speak right now, somebody in the world, not even Brazil, is getting SA. So it's like I feel like it probably is an awareness thing for it, but I feel like that awareness should be bigger. You get what I'm saying? You see how big BLM was? And I was about to say something crazy, but why not treat women's rights not like BLM? I'm just gonna keep it at that. But I'm gonna catch you niggas in the next one. How much you got?